Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over section 6.3 and 6.4, sampling estimators and the central limit theorem. So hopefully you have gone through your notes already. I had you select 10 words from this passage, and if you printed the handout then you can circle them, but otherwise you can just look through and write down your 10 words and then figure out what the length of the word is and whether it contains the letter E. And as you read through it, you may have noticed that this is the lyrics to Beyonce's Crazy in Love song, and it was released in 2003. So we're considering this passage a population of words, and the 10 words you selected are considered a sample from that population. So normally we don't get to have the entire population at our disposal. We don't know how many people are in the population, so we don't know exactly the mean unless it's a census, right? But if I wanted to estimate something about the entire population of community college students in the US, there's just no way for me to have the entire population, the number of students that are community college students in the entire US. And so we take representative samples, and then the idea is that by taking many samples from the same population, we're able to approximate parameters for that population. So in this case, each of you have taken 10 words. These were my 10 words. And then I counted the number of letters and then whether it contains the letter E or not. And so then we're going to calculate the average length of the 10 words. So for me, this is the sum, and the proper symbol is X bar, right? Because this is the average of a sample. So I add them all up and divide by 10, which gives me 52 divided by 10. And I should really be using parentheses here to make sure that if you're doing this on a calculator, make sure that you're using parentheses over the whole thing, divided by 10. Otherwise, it will just do 4 divided by 10 and add it up. Your calculator automatically does order of operations. And then the proportion of words that have the letter E will be counting up how many of your words have the letter E. So for me, I had 4 letters out of 10. 4 words out of 10. And so that gives me a proportion of 0.4. And the symbol for proportion is p hat. So this is different than for the population. So when you have a sample, the sample mean is X bar. For a population, the population parameter is mu, the Greek letter mu. For the proportion, when you have a sample, is p hat. And for a population is just plain p, or sometimes you'll see the symbol pi. Thank you all for taking the survey. So go into StatCrunch and you can find the results from everyone's data. I've collected it from Canvas and put it in StatCrunch. So when you go to StatCrunch, you'll be able to find Beyonce survey number 1. And we want to create a dot plot of the sample mean lengths for each student. And so let's combine it with your classmates. And so let's go to StatCrunch real quick and find that. So when you log on to StatCrunch, go to My Groups and then find our group in there. And then usually any new data that I add is going to be added to the last page. So just scroll to the last page. And here we have Beyonce number 1. And so when you click on that, you'll find the data. And so what we want to do is draw a dot plot. So let's remind ourselves, how do we do that? We go to Graph, and then we choose the one that is dot plot. So click on dot plot, want to select Beyonce, and then just compute. And so here is our dot plot. And you can make it big. If you want to do, sometimes you can scrunch it up to see the shape a little better, especially if something is bell shaped and it's hard to see it. When you scrunch it up, sometimes it's easier to see. In this case, this is what, right skewed. It has a right tail. But we can see the average word length that everybody got. So from your 10 chosen words. So let's go back to the notes. And so we can see the dot plot in here. So the next question is, what are the observational units and variable of the above graph? Well, the observational units are you guys, the students, right? The students in stat 300, I asked you to give me your average word length. And so the variable is the average length of the chosen 10 words. And let's see, let's move on to the next one. So looking at the dot plot from the sample mean lengths of each student, did each student have the same value of a sample mean? No, right? How do you know? Well, that's not just like, say at Ford, we don't have like a bunch of dots. I think there were 22 of you that took the survey, so there would have been like a bunch of like 22 dots if on the same number, if everybody got the same mean, but this is pretty spread out. So not, there are some people that got the same, right? 3 there and 1, 2, 3, 4 there. People got the same average length of words, but not everybody did. So then we can say, no, not all the dots are in the same number. The dot plot is spread out. So this is what we call sampling variability, right? Where the averages, the means, vary from sample to sample. So each of you had 10 words that you chose. So that was your own sample. And what did I say, 22 or 26 of you turn in your average word, so that's 26 different samples. So each sample, right, that's sampling variability. Each sample taken of 10 words gave us a different mean, a different standard deviation. So that's what we call sampling variability. And it's from the same population, right? You were all looking at the same lyrics from Beyonce's Crazy in Love. Estimate the center of the dot plot, then use StatCrunch to find the actual center. So the center appears to be between 4 and 6 by looking at the dot plot. And then once you actually find it, then you can put that in here. So let's go back to StatCrunch. And one way we can do it is, well, we can go to Stat and go to Summary Stat and Columns, and then Beyonce. And we want to find the mean, and if you want also we can find the standard deviation just to see how much we vary. So control, so hold the control key down and select standard deviation, and so those are the two things then that you're going to be computing. Notice that if I unclick mean now, or if I just click mean, now I only have the mean. The standard deviation went away. If I switch to standard deviation, now it's just standard deviation. So I want to make sure that I have both. So control and then click, and now I have both. Compute. And so here is our mean 4.7045 and our standard deviation 1.04. So that means that all of you, the variability, right, the standard deviation is about 1 letter off the average letter off that everybody's at. So our mean is 4.70 though. So going back to the notes, we can say the mean is from StatCrunch is 4.70. And in this dot plot, because it's so spread out, it's kind of hard to pinpoint the mean, right? So I know because it's right skewed, it's going to be closer. I probably could have said between 4 and 5. And so the 4.70 still makes sense because it's between 4 and 5. All right, so what does this mean? So let's go back to the population. Our population is the lyrics from the song Crazy in Love. So, and this is what the crux of the problem is. It is known that Beyonce wrote the lyrics for all of Destiny's Child songs. Remember, Beyonce was in Destiny's Child before branching on her own. The average word length for these songs is 3.64 letters. The true average word length for Crazy in Love is 3.59, which is not very far from the known Beyonce average word length of 3.64. So based on your samples, do you have good evidence that Beyonce did not write the lyrics for Crazy in Love? Explain. And we can say no, right? Our data is pretty spread out and our class is a small sample. Also, our sample mean was 4.70, which varies greatly from the 3.64, which is Crazy in Love. I guess that was the next question. How does your sample mean compare to the mean of the population? So our mean from question 6 is much higher than the mean of the population, 3.59. Now remember, the population was just the lyrics crazy in love. The mean of all the sample means is 4.70, which is also higher than the mean of the population. So think about what your own mean was. So mine, going back to my data, my mean was 5.2, the sum of all the 10 words that I chose. My mean was 5.2, so that is much larger, right? And so think about your own mean, the one that you submitted on the survey. How does that compare to the 3.59? So based on this sample means, you think the sample method asking you to quickly select 10 words is likely to produce representative samples? What additional information would you like to know to help you decide? And we can say no, right? Our samples lacked information. Many of us were choosing based on the song title instead of random word length selection. I just told you to pick 10 words that were representatives, not knowing representatives of what. So you had to make your own interpretation of what it meant to be representative. Now, knowing that we were looking for the length of the word, now that makes a difference, right? I wasn't asking for the meaning of the song, 10 words that tell you the meaning of the song, but 10 words that represent the length of the words in the song. So that gives you a different way, right? Different knowledge now of how to pick the words. So randomly picking words will be better. Maybe systematic sampling every 25th word or every 5th word, something like that. A random number generator assigned to words will also help, which is where the next part comes in. So taking a simple random sample. Remember, so our original 10 words that we chose, we can say that that was biased sample or a convenience sample, because if we just put our own interpretation of what it meant to choose 10 words, representative words. So you put in your own bias, representative of what? So you made your own definition. But now, knowing that we want to find a simple random sample, so I just really want to be able to pick any 10 words regardless of my own bias or definition of my knowledge of the song. So follow the directions below to try to create a simple random sample. And so we're going to open up this applet and then try to make it look like this. So we want to just one selection, 10 words, 1 to 297, because that's how many words are in the lyrics, without replacement, right? Once a word is chosen, we don't want to choose it again. We don't want to put it back in the mix to be chosen. And then press generate. And so these were the ones that I got. And so let's go through it real quick. So when you click on the link, it will bring us to the applet, and then we want to pick the random number generator. So it's under probability. So random number generator, and it's going to bring this up. And so we want 110 from 1 to 297. And without replacement, we don't necessarily want to sort the results. So let's make sure that that's what it looks like. 110, 1 to 97, no, and then we're going to click generate. So that looks good. So generate. And so now it's giving me different words, but I already put in the ones that I chose, right? And so then we will use the sampling frame and pick the words. So 246, 215, 91, and so on. So for me, these were my original numbers: 191, 290, 99, 259. And so then I went through the sampling frame and found the corresponding words. The sampling frame can be found in your module. So when you go to our class, you will see, right, this is the notes, Beyonce survey number 1, and then the sampling frame. So when you click on the sampling frame, then it brings up the words. So there's the number, and then there's the word. So for example, like for mine, right, 191 and then 250 were the ones that were given. So when I go to the sampling frame, what was it? 191 and 250. So 191 is, where is it? So 191 is I, right? So normally when I was just thinking without or with putting my own bias in it, thinking, oh, just the meaning of the song, I probably wouldn't have picked the word I would have picked like looking or love or baby. But now with the random number generator, the word 190 is I. Oh wait, it was 191, right? So thought. And then 250 is do. So, but you see how with the random number generator is really helping me pick a random sample. And so go through your words, and I think you already did because I can see people already filled out the survey number 2. So then go to Beyonce's survey number 2, fill it out, and well, now go to StatCrunch and find the data for Beyonce's survey number 2. And then we'll look at the dot plot there.